Hello, and welcome to the 14th episode of the BB&J show. That's some sort of extra baker's dozen or something. I'm not sure. I am the J, and that lovely host to my... I get it wrong every time, 14 episodes. To that side, on the other side of this wonderful new layout that we have, crafted by my wonderful partner, is BB. Say hello, BB, to the adoring fans.
Hi, how's everyone? Or, yeah.
Well, you know what? 14 episodes, we'll get it. Episode, I don't know, 400 maybe. We'll
Yeah.
we'll get a competent intro out of the both of us. But we were off last week. But look at this shiny new layout that we have here, courtesy of the artiste, formerly known as BB. BB, I think you should take a round of applause, a bow, if you will, for this wonderful work. Yes.
I just gotta clap for myself, but thank you.
I, we've seen you playing games. You do clap yourself quite a bit.
Wow. Alright, so I'll take some time off just so you can do that, alright?
Yeah. So we have some interesting things coming up in the future. We have some things we're working on. Something that might be something that we can't really talk about yet, but we're excited for. It'll be a first for this show. A few things, actually. There's a few firsts coming up. And so it'll be exciting. I'm excited for it. Today we're talking about some PlayStation news, some new releases, and we're talking about how gaming licenses and television shows, how they don't mix, kind of like business and pleasure. Do not mix your business and pleasure, folks. Trust me when I tell you from experience. But before we begin, if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel, liking this video, leaving a comment down below, and dinging our dong to be notified when we release new content. So, BB, let's get started. Tell us, what do we have to look forward to in the month of June? When we were doing the production meeting and you're sort of previewing it, it didn't seem like there was much, but I'm an optimist, and being an optimist, I'm optimistically optimistic that there's something we could look forward to.
Yeah, there's just a few things here. One of them kind of funny that are coming out this month, coming up in June. First up is going to be a game that became sort of a meme, but also and there was something that a lot of people were talking about when it was announced, and this was announced, I don't even know, maybe two years ago, probably now, right? It was the infamous do you guys not have phones?
Oh,
You
God.
remember that?
That hasn't come out yet?
It was an alpha. It was an alpha because it was not received well in the beginning, right? I mean,
Yeah,
obviously,
I wonder why.
the meme, right? And then some people said that it was actually decent. But Diablo Immortal is finally releasing June 2nd on iOS, Android, and PC, because it was technically still a mobile game. Well, it is a mobile game, but
Technically
um
still, yeah. I think it's a movie, yeah.
but that was the whole thing about people saying, like, at the event. I remember watching that event, and like they were saying, is there any plans of it coming out to PC? And they had said no, it's a mobile game, right? And then that's when everyone started booing, and then that one guy was like, do you guys not have phones?
Yeah.
That whole thing happened. But I guess they saw the kind of like the backlash that people had on it, and
You think?
they decided to bring it to PC.
Good.
um
Good.
yeah,
Not
so
interested, but good.
yeah, it's like I think it's free to play. I mean, obviously it's a mobile game, but yeah, I don't know. Diablo, I guess more Diablo finally. I don't know. I don't know
Diablo's
if
never
anyone's
really
excited.
been anything I've been too interested in. First of all, this is a few things. I'm not huge on the isometric
Hmm.
game view. Baldur's Gate and Divinity are the only games that are like
Okay.
really isometric, and I guess maybe XCOM if you want to count that, but are really
Yeah.
like isometric games that I will gladly play. Most games that are isometric, you kind of lose me with that alone.
Hmm.
Also, I didn't, the Diablo story never really hooked me. I guess the way
Okay.
they told the story, it just never really hooked my attention, if I'm being completely honest. So you mix more Diablo with kind of a mobile, because let's be honest, they ported it to PC, but it's a mobile game.
Yeah,
Like
exactly. Yeah.
let's call a spade a spade. So I don't like mobile games to begin with. Diablo is not really my thing. So yeah. Hopefully,
Yeah,
but if
that's
you're into it,
understandable, man.
look, if you're into it and you don't want to play on your phone and it's coming to PC, good for
Yeah,
you.
exactly.
So
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, so at least you have that port coming to you, right? Next up on June 8th is a game that I'm actually excited for. I actually streamed a few of the closed betas they had. This one I'm pretty excited for, and maybe we'll get some more gameplay soon from either me or Jay or both of us.
mm,
That's the Cycle Frontier, which is a, I guess you can call it a PvE type game.
yeah.
Right. So it's essentially the closest thing you can compare it to is Tarkov, right? But I would say it's a very like lighter version of it. You go in, you try to gather materials. You go and gather materials from these creatures like monsters, and do contracts for your, at your headquarters. And you also have to survive in the map. It has like some weather changing type of map based
Mm,
scenarios that happen, right? And then most importantly, the PvP element, which is, watch out for the other scavengers that are out there, right?
right.
I actually had a lot of fun. I played this game with Gamma.
Mm-hmm.
We had a lot of fun. We definitely got clapped probably every single time.
Yes,
But there
certainly.
were some, yeah. But there were definitely moments where it kind of gives you that adrenaline rush, and I
Mm,
kind of like that with those type of games because it makes it sets up really good scenarios where you're like, oh my gosh, like try to get to the to the drop ship or
yeah.
whatever, and then you're man down and you take his equipment so you can give it to him the next match. It's
Mm,
crazy.
yeah.
So I had a lot of fun with that one, but I'm excited to see that it's finally dropping June 8th.
Yeah, I was when I saw your stream of it, that was the first time I had come in contact with that game. Um, it has a sci-fi element to it because you kind of
Hmm.
like are in sort of a space station ish kind of thing, and you sort of drop down to the planet, and that's kind of where all the PvPvE takes place. So that's the interesting aspect of it to me. Um, I will say it reminded me, and we're going to touch on this a little bit later on about sort of game license and shows. It reminded me a bit of that game that got turned into a TV show that was supposed to connect with the game called Defiance. I don't know if you ever remember that, but it kind of reminded me a little bit of Defiance.
That was, yeah, that's kind of a throwback.
Yeah, it is a throwback. It's a
What was it,
2000
like
and
PlayStation 3 or something like that,
yeah,
or like
yeah.
or Xbox?
It's
Oh,
free on
wow.
Steam if you're into pain, but um,
Yeah, they did have a TV show, right? I think I watched like one episode. I don't remember.
yeah, the TV show, I think it got canceled after 3 or 4 seasons, and
Mm.
the game didn't have much connected content because the game took place before the TV show because it was like an
Uh,
MMO kind of thing. That
okay,
was the thing. It was supposed to be like an MMO that continued. It preluded the TV show, but it continued with content supposedly connecting to the TV show as episodes came out. But like at the end of the
Mm.
game, spoilers if spoilers just in case, I doubt anybody even knows what I'm talking about. But at the
Yeah.
at the end of the game, you I think it's like the two main characters drive off, and they're driving off to to where they end up, where they pick up at the first episode. So like they
Mm.
leave the area that the game takes place supposedly, and they go off to where the show takes place. But that's kind of what this game reminded me of a little bit because the drop ship and the sort of sci-fi mixed with primal kind of thing. It looked interesting. It looks like, I mean, it's free. Is it not free to play?
Yeah, it's a free to
Yeah.
play game. Yes.
So for free, I'd give it a go. It looks like it could be fun. A fun afternoon sort of party game, kind
Yeah.
of thing. Grinding on my own, I don't know that I'd do that because I feel like I'd get clapped a lot and I'd just get frustrated and just stop playing.
Exactly. Yeah.
But as a party game, in an afternoon, you're just hanging out. It could be fun.
Yeah, yeah. I think that one's gonna be a really good game. I enjoyed the time that I had with it. So I'm definitely gonna try to see how it is now that it'll be out of the beta stage. But yeah, that's coming to PC June 8th. But the next game we have in the lineup is actually a Switch game, and this one might be, I don't know. I feel like when I looked up the kind of like what people were thinking about the game when it was announced, it was sort of like the nostalgia factor, but also a little bit of mixed reviews from it just by how it looked. And this is Mario Strikers Battle League. I don't know if you ever played, Jay, but I remember playing in GameCube the first like Mario Strikers,
Isn't
and
that?
it was like their the soccer the Mario soccer game. It was so much fun
Oh,
that
Strikers. Okay.
I had so much fun in that game.
Hmm.
Especially in GameCube. And then I think they made another one for the, I think, I don't know if it was Wii or Wii U, one of those. I don't think I ever played that one, but this one is practically like bringing back that whole concept of the soccer game, but it's mostly like it looks more like action. I don't know. It just looked a little bit weird. To be honest with you, it sort of looked like a mobile game. When I first saw it,
Mm,
I thought it was a mobile game. And I'm not saying that Nintendo Switch doesn't have like, I mean, we know they don't have the best machine, right?
yeah.
The best
Yeah.
type of software for this, right? Or program, but like it did not look like other like Mario games. It
Mm.
looked very, very like mobile-ish. But like I said, some people were just like, "Oh, finally we get a Mario Strikers again." I don't really know how I feel about it. I'd have to see once it comes out if I even pick this up, but I'm keeping an eye on it. But that comes to us on June 10th.
Hey, FIFA, their license is up for grabs. When are we getting Mario FIFA here? I mean,
Oh my gosh, everyone. They're gonna no, it's just so they can make Mario Ultimate Team.
oh god, there you go. Collect different versions of Peach and
Yeah.
Peach, Peach Diamond
Uh,
and Pink
yeah.
Platinum Peach or whatever the fuck. And then we'll get Mario
Um
2K.
oh gosh.
It's a me,
Yeah.
microtransactions.
Oh my god. Why would you put that into existence,
It's
bro?
gonna look. I'm pretty sure at some point it's gonna happen, right?
That's true. Yeah. I mean, it's bound to happen, right, in this day and age. But yeah, that comes out on Switch on June 10th. But following up with that, we have something that I like to call that kind of triggers Jay a little bit. Star Trek Troopers.
How do I time somebody out of a show that I'm recording with them? How do I do that? Is that a possibility?
Um, all right. Starship Troopers. I'm sorry. Sorry, I read that wrong. My bad. Terrain Command for PC. Um, all I know is that it's kind of like like I guess a command type game. You know, like a tactical, like turn-based base building. Maybe
Hmm.
there's not really too much on it. I didn't even know this was even gonna come out.
So,
But I think this was announced like I do remember it being like talked about, but this was like whew, I think this was 2020 when they talked about it. Something like that. But
mm.
if you're a fan of Star Trek Troopers, I mean sorry, excuse me. Starship Troopers. I get them confused, you know, Starship, Star Trek, Star
This is the
Wars.
last episode of the BB&J show. Thank you for joining us on this
Wow.
wonderful ride. Um, I will be embarking on future endeavors, I'm sure.
Oh my gosh. But no, yeah. How do you feel about that, Jay? For this game?
I actually love Starship Troopers. Starship Troopers. It's actually it's a fun it's a good little sci-fi series. I like the first movie. I haven't seen the other 15 that came out after it. The first movie was pretty good. It's kind of long, but it's it captures that campy sort of sci-fi feel back in the day. I think this would be perfect if it's kind of like either Halo Wars or XCOM ish. I think it'd be perfect for Starship Troopers universe. I mean, you haven't seen the movie, so it's hard for me to describe, but it's kind of very XCOM-y in the sense that you have aliens and your soldiers die a lot. So if it's a game in which they are going to sort of take that sort of aspect of it where you're commanding a unit, it'd be cool. Now, again, I want to see what is it like. How close to XCOM is it, or is it Halo Wars, or whatever? Because I think the thing we need to keep in mind is, or the thing that these games need to keep in mind, people really like to to customize the soldier sort of
Mm-hmm.
thing. I don't know if you remember, BB, there was a Narcos game that came out that was like an XCOM Lite. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and
I don't think I ever played that one.
no, I didn't play it, but Angry Joe reviewed it. And I
Mm.
remember when he did the start of the video, I was actually excited because I'm like, oh shit, it's another XCOM like game, except it's like, Narcos, so it's not like, futuristic police, it's
Yeah.
cops and drug dealers. But you couldn't customize the soldiers. You
Mm.
were, and it just it and of course it didn't. It got some of the other things wrong, but the customization is the big key. So I was a wait and see, but it's put a pin in it. I'm gonna be interested in it. It's gonna go up on the wish list for sure. It'll probably be one of those games that ends up on the wish list, and I wait till it goes on sale, and I'll probably get it for $20, or I'll probably use my Deep Space Battle Sim uh, $10 credit to buy or something. God, that was horrible. Um,
Yeah. That game came on back.
yeah, so.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that one. So Starship Troopers Terrain Command comes out for PC on June 16th. Another game that's kind of pretty much been out for I think over a year now. It's finally getting released on multiple platforms. That's Xbox Series X and S, the old Gen X Xbox One, and the Switch, and that is Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout. I know it
Mm.
was like I think it was like on Steam and PlayStation for a while, and then it came
Woo,
into
woo, woo,
Epic.
woo, woo.
Yeah, exactly. Why did that sound so like spot on? But yeah, that's finally going. And another thing is that they were saying that it might be free to play as well.
Yeah, I think it is actually right now, if I'm not
Oh, it is
mistaken.
now.
Don't
Okay.
quote me on that though.
Right.
Uh,
I know there was talks of it being free to play. I don't know if it'll be free to play on June 23rd. I'm sorry, June 21st. But it is finally coming out to all the other platforms. So I'm assuming they're gonna allow you to play with everyone, right?
that's
Like
good.
multiple like crossplay,
Yeah.
which I wish a lot of games had these days. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's surprising to see not too many games have like cross-platform or cross-play or whatever.
Well, these companies got to do their prick waving contest, but
Yeah.
it's gonna be it's interesting. Fall Guys is one of those games where it, and actually, if you go to their Twitter, it'll tell you when it's free to play. I believe because I think it's like
Yeah.
their Twitter handle is like now like it's Fall Guys free to play June whatever whatever whatever. But what was I gonna say? Fall Guys is one of those games that kind of, I don't know if it peaked too soon, but it came out at right around the perfect time because like a lot of people were. It was height of the pandemic kind of thing. I think if they came out on all platforms at first, it would be in a much better place. Not that it's in a bad place, but you don't really hear as much about Fall Guys anymore. Fall Guys kind of sort of teetered off, and it makes sense because that game sort of had a shelf life. It's basically Takeshi's Castle if you know that old Japanese show, or if you're American, you might be familiar with Most Extreme Elimination Challenge, um, which shameless plug if you are my age and know Most Extreme Elimination Challenge. On Twitch, there is a channel that streams Most Extreme Elimination Challenge 24/7. So you'll want to go watch that. Um,
Yeah. I have no idea what that is. So, anyways, dang, I'm on fire today, yo.
yeah, sure. You're so to the
Um.
one person that's still watching.
Yeah. No, I just looked it up on their Twitter handle.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, the June 21st is when it'll become free to play for everyone.
Okay.
So it looks like once it releases for every platform, that's when it'll be free to play. But yeah, that's coming up. Next one up is pretty much a, I guess it's really just a remaster of an original game, or the original games, and that's the Sonic Origins. That one's set to come out on June 23rd for every platform, actually.
Hmm.
And it pretty much grabs all the classic games from Sonic, and it just, they just reworked it, make it make it compatible for the new consoles, PC, and everything. I'm pretty excited for that. I like Sonic. I really do like Sonic. I recently watched haven't seen Sonic 2. I recently watched the first Sonic movie, and I thought it was really really good. And I kind of grew up on Sonic. I will say that's probably one of the only games I remember playing as a child was Sonic. To me, that Sonic was like everyone's like Mario, right? Like I know
Yeah.
Mario's like super popular, right? But for me, it was Sonic. And I I know they're gonna have some, like, I think it's like Sonic 1 through 3, and then like Sonic and Knuckles. I definitely remember seeing a lot of people play like Sonic and Knuckles when I was growing up. But yeah, this one's pretty cool. It's good to see some throwbacks coming back and being remastered, or I guess not necessarily. Yeah, it is a remaster because they're not really remaking anything. It's just kind of making it be compatible with up to date, like, technology and all
Well,
that.
I will say my very first experience with gaming was with Sonic on the Sega
Sonic? Okay.
16. So this is actually something that I'd be interested. I have the original, like the 16-bit Sonics on Steam. You know, they had that
Oh
Steam
wow.
classic thing that
Yeah.
you can get, and I have Sonic. I think it's one, and I have a few others I think on there, but I'm not sure. But I know I have the first one, and I play it every once in a while when I want to feel nostalgic. You know,
Mm.
it's Sonic is one of those things. I wish that Super Mario would get that treatment. It's kind of
Mm.
what I wish. It's kind of why I wish Nintendo would get out of the hardware business and just be a software developer, and make Mario uh, open to other platforms, because I would love to play the original Super Mario's on Steam or something like that, and I don't want to buy their
I mean,
shitty
yeah,
consoles.
I'm with you, man. I definitely would also want a Mario Battle Royale. Come on.
Oh God, I'm
Um,
holding out for that Mario FIFA.
Mario FIFA.
Yeah, we got strikers, so
Yeah, they need to have the FIFA pick 'em up,
yeah.
or Mario pick up FIFA actually. But yeah, I'm pretty excited for that one. That one's June 23rd again on all platforms.
Not bad.
And then finally to kind of cut the list pretty short. I mean, there's a fair amount this month, not too many, but this one isn't actually a game per se. It's more of a DLC,
Mm-hmm.
and it's at the delicious last course. I haven't played Cuphead, but I know so many people. I've watched a lot of people, and I've actually wanted to play the game. But I know so many people have been wanting to play this, or been waiting for the DLC, and it
Mm.
looks like to me that they added a new character.
Really?
Yeah, to the with the DLC, it looks like you're getting like a new character on there as well. Um, but yeah, that one is finally coming to PlayStation 4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. I didn't see it say PS5 for some reason. I don't know if maybe they just don't have a version,
Yeah, I was
or
gonna ask. Did Cuphead get a upgrade, like an upgrade, like all the other games that I've been
I
getting?
I I thought it did, but the DLC doesn't say that, unless they're just being like in general.
Uh,
They just didn't mark it as that. But yeah, that would be the end of the month on June 30th.
I mean,
Did you ever get to pick up that?
I did not. It just, it kind of like, so the art style reminded me of those old cartoons when I was a kid. Like when I was a kid, there was Cartoon Network showed actual cartoons as opposed to what they show now. Back in my day, you know that was coming. But no, there was like, you can tell like when you would be watching a cartoon from like the 70s versus a cartoon from like the 60s because the art style would be different. Cuphead reminded me of the like the 50s 60s cartoon style. So it looked a little bit intriguing, but it also kind of looked like it'd just be a side-scrolling Dark Souls, and I didn't know that I was honestly up for that level of pain and torture. Usually, when I'm in that much pain, somebody's bought me dinner first, and my ex-wife is usually involved. But so I have not played the original Cuphead. Have you?
Um, no, I have not, but I've seen a lot of people play it. It looks fun, but like you said, it does look like pain. And if I had an ex-wife, maybe I'd have the same story as you. I don't know.
Listen, let me tell you, if you're gonna be in that much pain, make sure somebody's buying you dinner first. That's my advice.
But yeah, that pretty much wraps it up for June. Kind of a short list, but I would say definitely the highlight of this one was the Star Trek Troopers. I definitely think that one's going to be good. So speaking of new releases or new things in the atmosphere, right? That makes sense.
It's one way to put it. It's one word.
um, PlayStation Plus, Extra, Premium, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're essentially called, right? The tier system. It's finally out. We pretty much know the pricing. We know some of the games that are going to be on there. So they kind of broke it down a little bit to make it a little easier for people to understand. Because at first everybody was just kind of like, "Oh snap! PlayStation, Plus now, whatever you want to call it, whoever, so many names."
How many different
Right,
ways
like,
do you want to? How many different ways can you break down? I'm a greedy corporation. Let's see.
Okay, so we have the three tier systems. PlayStation Plus Essentials, right? That's the first one. That is your regular 9.99, so it's technically the plan that is currently, right? Um uh so it basically lets you play online with your friends, right?
Uh
So
huh.
your PlayStation Plus access, and it still offers a PS5 game and a PS4 game, or two PS4 games and a PS5 game,
Oh.
one way or the other, for free, right? Every month,
Mm-hmm.
you
So,
get that,
so long
and
as you have that subscription running, you
correct.
don't get to keep the game, which I think it's kind of BS. Honestly, I kind of understand both sides of it, but I think it's kind of BS. Like,
Yeah,
look, I subscribed for this month. This month it was free. Give it to me and let me keep it. Don't come back to me 9 months later when I don't want your shit service no more and be like, well, you don't want our shit service. You can't get this game that was free 10 months ago. It's like, anyway, go
yeah,
on.
we got that's essentially the regular plan, right?
Mm-hmm.
That everyone pretty much knows. Then you have the booster pack here. Okay, this is called the PlayStation Plus Extra.
Mm-hmm.
You like that
Extra
title, right?
greedy. Yeah.
Extra.
Extra greedy.
Oh my god. So PlayStation Plus Extra, I will say this is what you would say compares to the Xbox Game Pass. This is
Mm.
their PlayStation Game Pass, right? So the PlayStation, I was just about to say Xbox Game Pass.
Same thing.
The PlayStation Plus Extra is 14.99, right? And essentially what it does, it gives you everything the Plus gives you, right? With more, which includes over 400 titles, that being PS4 and PS5 games. I would say if you're into monthly subscriptions and you're currently paying the 9.99, that basically gets you two free games. But I mean, most of the time they're not. I guess quality can be, right? Um, this one might be a little bit more beneficial just because you get all those games included, and some of those are actually pretty good. Some of those are including Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales, God of War, Returnal, which is a PS5 game, Death Stranding, and the list goes on. So
Yeah.
they definitely have some pretty good like heavy hitters on there for if you have like a PS5,
Yeah.
which is kind of what the whole thing was. Where like I don't have a PS5, but I don't have anything to play, you know.
If you were able to
um
sell a kidney or a non-vital organ for a PS5, yes. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So that one is what's available now, and I think that one's a pretty good deal. It's cool that they finally have something to kind of compete against the Game Pass, because in the beginning they really didn't have anything, right?
They still don't, but go on.
Um, um, but yeah, that is the PlayStation Plus Extra. Okay. Now, if you really want, okay, if you really want the big heavy hitter here, all right,
Oh, here we go.
all right, this is the I guess you could call it the only flans, okay, of subscriptions. The PlayStation Plus Premium,
Yeah.
okay,
Greed
PlayStation Plus
premium.
Premium here. All right, the third and final tier of the subscription service. This essentially gives you the essential, the extra, and on top of that, I only think this is pretty much worth it for anyone who wants the ultimate nostalgia like games,
So pretty much
like
anybody who
library.
cares about like PlayStation, because at this point they're pretty much.
Anyone who wants their eyes to hurt.
Yeah.
Yes.
Listen, modern games mostly are shit, and most people play games on the hope of the nostalgia because they remember when games were good, and then modern games come out and are shit, and
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
disappointed, and they go back to those old school games. So,
True. True.
you know,
But this one is a the price for this one is gonna be 17.99, so you pay a few extra bucks from down, and it essentially gives you PlayStation 1, 2, 3, and PSP games. That's what you're getting. So if you want to play some classics, there you go. Pay a few extra bucks for it.
of course
You got it.
they put the thing everybody wants at the highest tier because
Exactly.
they're
Exactly.
PlayStation. Look, I'm so over. Honestly, I'm over most consoles. The only reason why I got the cheaper Xbox next gen console was because um, I'm a sports games player, and the sports games have not next gen on PC yet. Um, so I wanted to play the next gen version of the sports titles, and so that's why I got an Xbox, whatever the fuck they call it. I don't know, Series.
Xbox toaster.
Yeah,
Yes.
whatever. But I don't know if you were there with me. We were in the Discord. We were in my Discord, and we were. I think you may have been there. I know Gamma was there. But
Hmm.
it was we were talking because we know somebody who was on the inside somewhat with PlayStation, and is very favorable to PlayStation. Let's put it that way. Uh, it's fine. She doesn't watch the show, so I can shit on PlayStation all I want. But I said this in the call. That's like PlayStation will act like they're fucking that we're privileged
Hmm.
to play their games. Like they're not just you're making fucking video games. Get over yourself. All right. Like I that's why I don't like PlayStation that much. Like PlayStation 4 over the Xbox One, yeah. PlayStation 3 over 360, yeah, somewhat in some respects.
Yeah. Yeah.
But honestly, as a company, I prefer, even though I hate Microsoft, I prefer Microsoft over Sony because Sony will just be like they'll shit on a plate and then put it in front of you and be like, "Be lucky to smell our shit." Yes, yes, you are privileged
Oh,
to smell our excrement. Oh yes. And it's like, and then they'll be like $500 for that privilege to smell, to waft in our fucking
oh my
turd.
god.
And it's like, are you? I. That's why it's like I PlayStation anytime PlayStation does something, I roll my eyes. The PlayStation 5 and all of the stuff that it's hard to get and all that's. I mean, it's not just PlayStation 5 because Xboxes were hard to get as well. But
Mhm.
I got an Xbox, and Xbox at the very least offered two-tier pricing for people who weren't going to be so you know this just smacks again of more PlayStation greed. There's no need to have three fucking tiers. There's no need to price gate all of these things. Like, there's just no need for it. Honestly, would it really kill you for even if you want to do 17.99? Let's find a nice medium. 17.99, you get the whole package, the whole shebang. You get all three tiers rolled into one. Wouldn't that just work? I mean, and have a I don't know, whatever, $5.99 if you just want just PS Plus. No games, no
Hmm.
nothing, whatever. That's it. Just to play on. You shouldn't charge people to play online. That's just I don't know how that. I don't know how we've accepted that scam. By the way, as gamers, I really don't. But we've been scammed, folks. I don't know if anybody's like picked up on that part, but we've been bamboozled. We've been tallywhacked. We've
Yeah.
been. But luckily there is the PC Master Race where you can play online for free, because you pay an internet service provider bill. You don't gotta pay fucking PlayStation or Xbox. Like, how did we get suckered into that? Anyway, that's a different discussion for a different day.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I have no interest in any of this mess. PlayStation can just go into bin. I they suck. Xbox sucks. I mean, honestly, no game company is really that good. But at the very least, I can play games on PC for free. And
Yeah, I'm not too like into the whole like console or platform wars, whatever they have going on. Like I just like games, okay? And like unfortunately right now games aren't that great, but
oh,
but
you gotta play
yeah.
GoldenEye.
Oh, I don't know about that, man. All right. I can't play that game. I'm gonna have my eyes closed all the time.
That game is that game is better than 90% of the games on the market right now, and
Mm,
that game
I don't
is
know.
20 some
I'll,
odd
I'll
years
have
old.
to. I'll try it out. I'll try it out and see. I don't know about that. They are supposed to be working on some kind of remaster or something, so maybe. But yeah, that wraps up the PlayStation tier list. Pretty exciting for PlayStation fans, I guess. I mean, I remember last time I had a PlayStation was 4 years ago or five, I don't know. And yeah, like you said, there's certain games that are pretty great on them.
Yeah,
Certain games that are great on 360 as well, or Xbox One, but PC is where it's at. Anyways,
I agree completely.
since we're talking about PlayStation though, some pretty cool news. It's cool because I get the idea, but is it really good? I don't know. We'll have to see because, um, yeah, lately this hasn't really been a good. Besides one, I would say one uh gaming franchise that's kind of done pretty good so far. But
Mm.
anyways, PlayStation is currently working on a God of War and a Horizon Forbidden West TV show.
That's gonna come on top of their Last of Us TV show. That's also
Yes,
a
yes,
series that's
that is
being worked
also
on.
on
Yeah,
in development.
on
Yes,
Netflix. That one I
which
think is
that
further
one,
along because I think they've cast it already. I think they even started. I'm not sure. Don't
yeah,
quote
they
me, but I
did
think they started
started.
filming.
Yeah, they should have just started filming a few months ago, I
Mm,
think.
yeah,
I'm only excited for it because uh, Pedro Pascal is in it, which is the Mandalorian, and I think he's awesome.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, they're working on those TV shows, and I mean, with Last of Us, I can understand it being a TV show, right? It's a
Mm,
little bit more grounded, realistic, I guess, right? If you can say, I mean, the thing you can compare it to is just like a zombie TV show, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
essentially,
It's the
right?
next Walking Dead
Um,
if they do it right.
if they do it right. But I have a little bit more hope for it just because it's on HBO. HBO seems to kind of have a little bit better grasp on TV, right? When it becomes because it's more of like
Yeah,
a
yeah,
premium type of network, right?
yeah.
Than other networks out there. Paramount, excuse me.
Oh,
I sneezed.
yeah.
Um,
Trust me.
but but yeah, those are currently on in development. Here's my thoughts on it. God of War, I feel like could be kind of hard to portray. I don't know. I like the franchise. I think they're fantastic games, especially God of War 2019.
Mm,
That was an amazing single player game. I
yeah,
loved it
they did a good
from
job.
start to finish. Yes, the chemistry between the Kratos and his son,
Mm-hmm.
amazing. The other characters that would be involved, it was just great.
Yeah.
The thing is that we know that pretty much games in whether it's TV or movies, they haven't really had a good track record.
No.
The last one that currently has done pretty good, even broke records, was Sonic. Sonic was
Yeah.
probably the only thing after. This is only after they scrapped that beta look that they
Oh
had.
God.
Okay, because can you imagine if that was released? But uh, but yeah, that would probably be the only show or gaming franchise that actually has been successful, like really really successful. I don't really know how to feel about, like, I know you could do it for Horizon,
Yeah.
like in that futuristic post-apocalyptic kind of world, right?
Mm.
Um, but I don't know. I don't know. What do you feel about it, Jay? How do you feel about that?
Okay. So, just positives and negatives here. When we were doing the pre-production, we knew where this subject was going. There's a very specific show that I'm going to end on a rant with, and I'm going to try to not get us canceled. So I think God of War, the game, they did a great job. I wasn't really into the PS2 games back in the day. I didn't really care for them that much. I had a friend who really loved them. But I did love in the 2019 God of War the callback to it. They did a little callback to it that was really good. I'm not going to spoil anything, but they did a little callback to it that was like, even I watching somebody stream it, I was like, oh, this is cool. So that God of War was really good. The thing was, like, so God of War and like Horizon, because Horizon's super story rich, and when Horizon first came out, I kind of was like, this blend of futuristic and primal, I didn't really get it, but I saw the story and I understand it, and I'm like, ooh, that's a good twist. Those two, they have very story rich, sort of lore rich worlds that, if done correctly, can work. But if you take a hot steaming shit all over the lore, you screw it up. So it's going to be a wait and see with that. The Last of Us, the game didn't really do much for me. It was okay. I prefer Uncharted, to be honest with you. I just didn't care for the stealth mechanics. I'm not a stealth gamer, so when like some instances actually required stealth, and it just annoyed me more than anything. Where it's like, I'm over this. I would like to see it as a TV show because I love the early Walking Deads. I think the early Walking Dead was like really good. So I hope they can do it right, And again, there is lore in The Last of Us, and there's you can't just be like any old zombie thing and have it work, because you can shit on the lore of the Last of Us too. But I feel like The Last of Us is a little more reality based, which allows for some lateral movement, in my opinion.
Exactly.
Exactly. You can sort of tweak some things around the edges, and I think get away with it. Sonic, I never saw it, but I love Sonic, as we said earlier. Now, the elephant in the room that's wearing the Mjolnir armor is the Halo Paramount series. So we watched the first 2 episodes in the Discord. Now, I'm going to go through a sort of spoiler-free version of a rant, and then I'm going to give a warning, and I'm going to say something that's spoiler laden. So if you're watching and you haven't seen the show, don't worry. I'm going to give a spoiler free version first, and then you can mute the thing and come back when you've seen the show. So the series, we watched the first 2 episodes in Discord. The opening scene, honestly, the opening of that show was really good. The opening had me thinking, oh, okay, maybe people are kind of being too hard on this show, because I'm vibing, I'm like, eh. And there was a few sort of fan service moments that I noticed. The shield recharging, the sound and everything, it was classic Halo 1. And I'm like, I was a happy little, I was happy at that moment.
Yeah.
The story had its things, it was like whatever, and of course they don't have Steve Downes as the chief, so the voice is going to be different, and it's whatever, but the visually was really good, all of that. So you get on, and there comes a point in the episode in which it starts to fall apart. It started to fall apart. There's one scene that triggered me, and I'm not going to say it yet. Because I'm going to talk to the first 2 episodes spoiler free, then I'm going to go over it all. there was one scene that triggered me, made my eye twitch, and then towards the end of the episode, it got stupid, it got silly. It's this thing of needing to make every main character this human being kind of thing that kind of just it rolled my eyes. So the first episode, I'd give it a 7.5. Because 75% of the episode didn't piss me off, 25% pissed me off. So I give it a 75%. Then the second episode, the wheels fell off even more. The second episode was just the second episode was where I go, okay, I understand why people hate this shit now. And apparently it gets much worse from what I've been told. But it was just, again, this whole thing of, like, it just made the chief not the chief. Pretty much, in the TLDR. They made Master Chief not the Master Chief. And, again, more lore taking a steaming shit on the lore.
Yeah, there was definitely some other Spartans that I thought were Master Chief.
Yeah, there was many more Master Chief worthy Spartans than the Spartan that they were portraying as the Master Chief. And it was also something else with one of the other Spartans that kind of made me go, oh, for fuck's sake, no. And I could see foreshadowing with something. And so it just, the second episode, I give it like a 5. Because like half of it was all right. And that was sort of the political intrigue part of it. But every time they were just going over the Master Chief, which is the star of the show, I just kind of was like, ugh. And then, of course, the shit that triggered me from the first episode carried over, so I was triggered. So, BB, would you like to give a spoiler-free rebuttal to that before I launch into my tirade?
Yeah, I will keep it pretty short. Episode 1, yes. Episode 2, no. That's it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was not. I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. It came out pretty strong for what I expected, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, I know. Like so many people were like, oh,
Yeah.
it's bad. I had the same nerd moment when the shields came out. I was like, oh,
yeah, I was like
oh, that's cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it was just like,
mm-hmm. Yeah, then you're just like, oh no. No, it's like in The Walking Dead. There's that one famous scene where Rick is like, no. He starts crying over. Yeah, that's kind of what it was like. That was my internal.
Instead of Rick saying Coral, I was saying Chief.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. So go ahead and you can start your process on.
Okay, so
going at it.
For those who have not seen the show and don't want to be spoiled, I'm going to give you a 10-second countdown before I start. So it's 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the show that never ends. I wish it ended. Okay, so as I said, the show, it opens up with a nice battle on some outer colony, and it's kind of cool. Because, if you know the Halo lore, again, there was a separatist war. That's kind of why the Spartans were invented, and sort of the Covenant attack in the middle of that. So, these people don't believe the Covenant even exists, and they show up, and they fuck everybody up. And one little girl survives. She's like 13 or whatever. And so they go, and the chief finds this Forerunner artifact, which is, Forerunner is in the lore, is like the race that came before, and, he finds this artifact, and suddenly he has memories, which he's not supposed to have. Which, okay, so far, lore intact. Just a little fuzzy around the edges, but mostly lore intact. Then, I don't know how long into the episode it is. First of all, Captain Keyes, I don't mind a recap, because in the games, Miranda and Captain Keyes, they're white characters. And in the show, they're black, and that's fine. I have no problem with that. The problem I have is Captain Keyes, the actor they chose, he looks like a Wish.com Idris Elba. And I cannot get past that. I'm sorry. I'm sure he's a fine actor. I'm sure he's I don't know. I don't know him at all. I don't know any stories. I don't want to be like, I'm sure he's a wonderful human being. And it turns out he's like,
oh my God,
kills fish or something. But I'm sure he's fine. But I just can't see him and not think they could have just got Idris Elba for who they have. The daughter, so Halsey and Keyes, I don't know that they're in the games. I don't know that they Miranda is Halsey's daughter, but in the show she is. So that's kind of like, it adds to the... Again, I don't mind that kind of fudging with the lore. That's kind of cool. It adds sort of an intrigue to these characters who really, Captain Keyes deserved to be killed in Halo 1 and Miranda deserved to be killed in Halo 3. So giving them this sort of background kind of makes it interesting. All is fine up until we get to see the Covenant. When we see the Covenant leadership, I about flip the table. Because this is where the show now falls apart. So, quick TLDR, if you don't know the lore of Halo, the Covenant are a collection of races, aliens, that have banded together under the religious belief that if they set off Halo, they will be taken on a great journey. In reality, Halo is a super weapon that kills every living being in the galaxy. So they kind of got their facts a little fudgy, but that's religion for you. So, the Covenant despise humans. Especially the race at the top of the Covenant, known as the Prophets, they despise humans. Humanity is scum to them in the games, in the books, in every piece of lore to this point. So when we see the Covenant, for whatever reason, Lady Gaga is leading the Covenant. And no, I don't mean actually Lady Gaga, but they have this character, this woman who is blonde. She looks kind of like Lady Gaga, and she's wearing these fucking big robes and shit, and they are like a weird costume. Yeah, and they're acting like she's like this holy being. They're like bowing to her. I about lost my shit when I saw that, because it is like I don't know, take any other franchise that's out there. Give me a long running franchise that's out there.
Long one?
Yeah, like, just game franchises.
Game franchise.
Yeah, I don't know.
And you say it like on the spot.
Anyway, forget it is like if Aliens, the movie Aliens, where they're all fucking up humans, and they're just seen as sacrificial things. It's like if you saw a TV show about aliens where they worship the humans or something. Yeah. It took such a shit on the lore. That was the part that it just drove me up a wall. Because, yeah, I'm okay with, you doing some sort of, you tweak some things with the lore here and there. It's like if Geralt was suddenly worshipping monsters. Like, Geralt was like, this is a monster, we have to treat it with care. And he's like bowing to them and shit. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, it's like, no. And so, she was like, there were points in which she looked at them like she was scolding them. And I was just like if they wanted to... It made me so mad, because I know some executive somewhere was like, well, we can't have aliens, pal. You got to have a human face. They got to relate to the bad guy. Like, I know that's probably somebody somewhere. Some suit got in there and, like, circle jerked and was like, we need to have a human face in here. And if they wanted to do that, if they wanted to have a character that was captured as a child, maybe, and was raised by the Covenant and was not abused, but sort of kept in prisoner of war conditions, and was like drug out and forced to do things that they couldn't do. Okay, I mean, I'd be like, yeah, whatever, but I'd at least live with it. No, she has to be this cold, evil woman that's like in charge of things, and it triggered me. And that wasn't the end of the episode. I wish I woke up at that point and realized it was some sort of fever dream, but no. The episode continued, and we end up with the chief now gets an order to kill this 13-year-old girl, because this 13-year-old girl won't, do propaganda for the Marines, for the UNSC. So he gets an order to kill her. Yeah. And he suddenly becomes like, he suddenly feels some sort of kinship to this girl, and is like, oh, no, I can't. And so she knows something's up, right? So she gets a gun, the shittiest gun in the whole world, the battle rifle. She gets a gun, and she's like gonna shoot him, and he goes like, this is Mark 6 Mjolnir armor, blah, 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 blah. Going into this specification like, you won't even make a dent. So let me take my helmet off. So, the whole moment of him taking his helmet off. And then, if you're going to kill me, you have to aim up here. And it's like, you're just like, what the I'm like, at this point, I think I had an aneurysm by this point, or my fifth one. And so they land, and they're gonna take him out, and the other Spartans are kind of like, well, why, or whatever, and they gotta, Halsey's like, you protect the chief no matter what, and it's like this subplot and all this other shit, and then Chief touches the object, and it does some EMP thing, and allows them to escape, and they fly away. And it's like, everybody's like, oh, what? Oh, why? And all this other dumb shit. And that's the end of the first episode. And I'm just like, what? I was like, what is this? Again, 75% of the episode wasn't bad. It was the 25% that just shitted on. And then the next episode. So the next episode, and this is coming to a theme. It was about, at this point, I started to realize what I was watching. And it wasn't Halo. And I'll explain what it was when I finish. He gets to this like outlaw port that was run by some former Spartan that he let get away when they were training because the Spartan lost his arm, and so he now runs this outlaw post and is like the big king shit. And of course, Chief is walking through this place, this outlaw port where anybody could kill him without his helmet on, because of course, he's just. Why wear your armor? That's, impenetrable. Why would we do that? In a dangerous place? No. So he goes and he spends the night with this guy, and this guy, Chief, sort of, I don't know, is more human, and the other three Spartans are now sent on a mission to go find him, and it's like you can tell one of the female Spartans. I hope I'm wrong. I sincerely hope I'm wrong, but I don't think I am going to be. At this point, one of the female Spartans starts kind of like getting gaga over Chief a little bit. And even at one point in the earlier in the episode, I think she made gaga eyes at him, or later in the episode, she makes gaga eyes at him as they're walking into the base. And it's like, you can just tell. It's like, oh, for fuck's sake. First of all, she has this long-ass ponytail, which I don't know how she fits in her helmet, but that's neither here nor there. And the other two Spartans are just like, we're here to do a job, and they're doing their work. Yeah. And she's just like, but Chief won't run away on us, will he? But the Chief. And it's just like,
yeah.
I'm just like, this hurts. My brain is trying to escape its skull at this point. And so he leaves the girl at the port because she's going to survive and whatever. And he goes back, and when he lands, they kind of half arrest him, half don't. And Halsey kind of does some weird sort of wannabe Game of Thrones backpedaling or back machination thing to get Cortana approved, which they never wanted to approve. And that was kind of okay. The political intrigue behind that was kind of okay. Like, oh, okay, this is kind of interesting. If the rest of that shit wasn't in there, honestly, if it was a show about just following Halsey, I'd be interested. Because, like, it's more Game of Thrones-ish with space, because it's like, she's with Miranda's department, which is their daughter, Captain Keyes and Halsey's daughter. Her department is fighting with Halsey's department for funding, so they have to talk to the committee, and it's all this sort of backhanded, backstabbing political shit. That was actually kind of interesting to see how that works out. And then they get to Chief comes back, and he lands, and he gets off his ship, and they're walking him in, and he's going to be arrested or whatever. And of course, there's the other Spartan, the female Spartan, just looking at him. Just fucking staring at him. Didn't say anything to him. Just fucking like...
Yeah.
And I'm just like, ugh. And then he's in his little holding cell, and I forget how... I forgot how it ended. I think he talks about his memories or something. Mm-hmm. And then, the episode ends, and at that point, I think I was searching for ways to get time back, because I wanted to get my memories back from the last 2 hours that I saw of that show, because it pissed me off. It wasn't Halo. That's what I want to just to end on this note. It was not Halo. It was The Mandalorian. They did The Mandalorian. It was.
They really did try a little hard to It looked like they were maybe trying not to be that, but they.
No.
When they're like, hey, can I copy your homework?
Yeah.
It's like, just don't make it noticeable, and it's literally like that. But
but they changed the name or something. It was Mandalorian. It was a less She the girl from the beginning is a less cute baby Yoda. Chief is this like badass gonna murder everything and all this, but suddenly something happens and now he's getting these feelings and is gonna betray
And I mean,
his
the thing too is like in Mandalorian, it's like he's like, I can't take my helmet off, right? Like, because it's
yeah
against the code, right? And spoilers if you haven't seen Mandalorian, but I mean, it's been out for a minute. But he eventually doesn't necessarily take his helmet off. Someone else does because
yeah
he's dying technically, right? Like he's
yeah
injured.
yeah
So like at least he still technically kept his promise. But like Chief literally the first episode, like,
mm-hmm
nah fam, you wanna kill me? I'm gonna show you how.
yeah.
Like, what?
He did everything but put the gun to his forehead. Like, please.
Yeah,
He
exactly. That was literally it.
he probably saw the script and was like, you know what? Here, I know where this show's going. Shoot me. Just end it.
Yeah, he was probably trying to save the show. Like, you know what? Let's just end this right here.
Oh, it was just so bad. Again, you can do like the show had. I think what pisses me off the most is the show had potential because the visuals are really good. The
Yeah.
the acting isn't bad. Like what they have to say is stupid, but the acting is not bad.
Yeah, you're
Even
right. The acting is good. The just the lack of writing and just the lack of like proper use of the lore.
yeah,
That's the biggest thing.
yeah, because the visuals are great.
So
The
yeah, the
asteroid
visuals.
scene in the second episode was
Oh
pretty
yeah,
good.
the second episode scene. Oh
Yeah,
man, that was interesting. Seeing that subway
yeah,
kind of thing, like it
yeah.
was so cool. So you're right. It's like Gamma had brought this up where he was saying that if it didn't have the Halo sticker on it, like
Mm-hmm.
it would be a decent show, like a decent space sci-fi,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because I actually was like, like part of me was like wanting to like it because
Mm-hmm.
of the visuals and the acting, right? But then the other part, which is the majority, is that this isn't Halo, so
Yeah,
I don't want to see something that doesn't represent, Halo how it's supposed to.
yeah.
And I get it, and we talked about this too. If they wanted to make their own Halo show, they
Mm-hmm.
had so much more material to use,
I'm
and
telling
just
you.
leave that alone. Like leave his story alone.
Yeah,
Just go off your own like show about in the Halo universe. That's it. But
yeah.
man.
So it depends. You can go one of two ways with the new shows. I know we started down that road a long time ago about these new shows, but you can go one of two ways. You can have, if you respect the lore, you can do well. But if you take hot steaming shits on the lore like this game did, then you're not gonna do too well. So that's my rant on the first two episodes of the Halo Paramount series. There'll be more rants as we see more of them, and
Oh,
we did talk.
definitely.
There's somebody who was very interested in having a discussion with us on the eighth
Oh
episode,
yeah.
which
Oh yeah.
apparently I don't know how. Apparently, it gets much worse, which scares me. So I'm
I know,
very
right? I'm just
concerned.
like every episode. I'm like, can it really get worse than this? Like, and I guess it can.
Yeah, it's literally like this can't get any worse. And the Paramount
Yeah,
writers
yeah.
hold my beer. I was like, but yeah. So
Oh,
BB, we've
yeah.
come to the end of another episode.
I know another one.
Another one. Episode 14 is in the can. Um, so we will be back hopefully next week. We never guarantee it because life happens and things happen and we get busy and hopefully we could all stay in good health. But in an age of a global pandemic, that's not always possible. But hopefully we'll be back. As always, BB's Twitch and my Twitch are in the section down below. Ooh, excuse me. We now have a Twitter. We have an email. So leave a comment down below. Tell us what you think. If you spoiler free, please, for those who haven't seen the show. If you want to talk spoilers, you could always email the show or talk to us on our Twitch, Discords, and other things. But tell us what you thought of the Halo shows, and tell us what you think of game license TV shows. What are you thinking about the Last of Us and the God of War series as well as the Horizon series? Or if you're excited for some of June's release games, feel free to leave us a comment down below. BB, any parting words?
No, as always, if you're still watching this, right now in this exact moment, you're the MVP, and thank you so much for watching.
Yeah, you are indeed the MVP if you're still here. We appreciate you, and as always, we are grateful for your love and support, and everybody's love and support. Whether you've liked the video, shared, commented, whatever it is, we appreciate you wholeheartedly. We'll be back with more content coming up. We have some exciting things in the works. Exciting! The month of June, BB, I think is going to be quite exciting. I think the month of June is going to be very exciting.
Be good.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good. Yeah.
Stay tuned to the BB&J show. For BB, I've been Jay. We'll catch you next time. Bye, everybody.
What up, fam? Thanks for watching.
For more of the BB&J show, click subscribe, click like, and click the bell for notifications when we release new videos.